Welcome to 2016. Thanks for being a leader at our church, and thanks for being able to give your gifts, your graces as a part of the leadership team of our church to help us move into this new year. 2015 was a great year for our church. We accomplished a lot of things, and it really has set us up for this new year in some great ways. Some of the things that we accomplished last year, we sent a group of youth to Honduras. We started a worship service that's aimed at our special guests for second helpings, and that 13th Street Sanctuary service has continued. We've had a full year of a second contemporary worship service all year long. That's been exciting. We call it 11C. We've been able to completely redo the heating and air conditioning system of our old building, and we've been able to also finish off the roof of our old building. We've actually also redone several of the stained glass windows in the church, so the trustees have been very busy. Our church has been busy through this 2015 year doing ministry and keeping this church and its facility in tip-top shape. So we're really set for 2016 in some special ways. And so our motto for 2016 is that there's nothing left to fix in 2016. Well, it doesn't rhyme, but it still works, because we do have a year ahead of us where we get to do ministry together in some special ways and have less for us to be able to have to focus on that is about fixing and repairing. That's exciting. So let me share with you some things that as you step into leadership this year, you need to know. We want you to be able to have this video that will guide you into leadership. And there's going to be a packet that's coming to you in the mail that's going to be the information that you can actually use. This packet is there for you to be able to have as a way to show you the details of what you need, and our job is to make sure you're a success. So follow that packet. I'm going to follow my notes here, and it's going to guide us through some things I want you to be aware of. First of all, I want you to know that we've assigned a staff person to help you be a leader here at the church. And that staff person is there to help you, work alongside you, have relationship with you, celebrate with you, and also encourage you. And so that staff person I want you to get to know and to work well with. Also, I want you to know that we're going to be sending some other items to you that are going to simply be specific information related to your ministry team or your committee. So let me guide you a little bit through what's in the packet that you have. First of all, there is a description about what our church council is and how often they meet. Our church council is our major deciding body, and that group is constituted by the leaders of our church, and you're one of them. And they meet 4 times a year. The dates for their meetings in this year are printed there on that front page of the church council. I want you to look at those dates and put those on your calendar. If you can't make it, make sure someone from your group can be there, because it's important at that meeting for us to hear how are we getting our job done, how are we hitting our mission, and we want to hear your stories of how that's happening. Second page is about our mission and our vision and our strategic objectives. Our mission as a church is to create grace-filled environments where Jesus Christ can transform lives. We think that those grace-filled environments are Bible studies, small groups, retreats, events, worship. We think those situations can be places where we're serving our community, serving each other. And so we want more of those environments created because we want more lives transformed. And those are the stories we want to hear about at church council and otherwise, because it's transformed lives that are the outcomes that we're after. And we want to be able to see that measurement in our church. There is a statement there also about our vision, that God continues to grow us as a grace-filled community. You can see there in that vision that He's pointing us forward but holding on to our past. So read through that vision statement. And then there are 5 strategic objectives that are listed there. And we ask every group, including yours, to help us in those 5 strategic objectives. We want to decrease the average age of our church. That means reaching younger people, younger families, and we want to hang on to those of us who are older, but we also want to reach those who are younger, and so that's a piece of our objective. We also want to increase our outreach. We'd love for the things that you as a group do to have an outreach element, somehow reaching new families. So if it's a small group, we'd like for you to think, how can we have a spot here for somebody new? How can we have a spot here for somebody who needs to grow in ways that only we can provide? So think through the outreach element. We want to also increase diversity. It's easier for us to reach people who are just like us, but it's a blessing when we begin to reach people who are different than us and actually feel and grow how that diversity makes us richer. So we want to increase that diversity. We also want to create a secure, safe environment. We've been growing that area and accomplishing several things, and we have a special task force this year that's going to help us move forward there as well. And finally, we want to move people along the discipleship pathway. We want to help them grow spiritually. And so it's that discipleship depth, that maturity that we want to make sure we're helping people move forward in, and not just stay in the same place. That's a piece that you and your group can help us with. How can you help people move forward in their faith? Those are the objectives. That's what that page is about. And the next page is a summary budget that lists the entire church's budget. It shows you what our projected revenues are, and bottom of the page it shows you the projected expenses, your own area's individual budget, if you have one, is going to be listed there as a line item. And so look through that page. In a later email, we'll send you a very specific budget for your area, and you and your staff person can go through that budget to see how that needs to be spent. In addition to that, we want you to know the next page is about how to access funds. And we want you to know that we want you to have the funds that you need to do what you're planning to do. And there are budget funds, there are designated funds, there are agency funds. Those funds have different purposes, and your staff person can be your best guide. This page is there to help you see the difference between those and to know the process to make sure that you are able to access those when they are needed. We have a check request system in our church, and we also have fundraisers in our church that we channel through our finance committee. So check with your staff person. They'll be a great guide for how you do that. There's a leadership roster in your packet that lists all of the groups in our church, and that also shows how we're divided between ministry teams. If it's related to ministry, it's a team, and committees, administrative committees. And so you can see the structure of our whole church in that leadership roster. You should find yourself on that page as well. And later we'll send you a list of your group that has contact information, so you can start your own distribution list with your own group. There is a page for staffing structure in your packet, and that structure helps you see how our executive staff group are team leaders over the rest of our staff, and you can see how we're structured. Then the next page is about how we have assigned those staff persons to the different ministry teams and committees. And so with that in mind, you can see who's going to be assigned to you. In addition to that, there's a page that explains what teams and committees do and how they operate, what the difference is. And then we have a permission granted page in your packet. We want you to know that you have permission to move forward if what you're planning fits our mission, if it fits our vision, and if you have funding. We want you to move forward. If there are questions about that, get with your staff person. because we want to iron out those questions. We want you to be able to move forward. But if it doesn't fit those three guidelines, then it's a great conversation to have and to figure out why. We also want you to know about meetings. We think meetings need to happen when they need to happen, but useless meetings are not fun. So plan good meetings, work with your staff person as to what the agenda is going to be, and think through those details. Maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months. You plan how often and where. Charles Norton, our facility director, is over our calendar and he's over the spaces. And so get with your staff person so that they can make sure Charles has you on the calendar and has you in a space. Those are important. Marilee Barrett is our nursery coordinator. And if you need a nursery for your meetings, make sure your staff person gets with Marilee about that as well. So calendaring, child care, spaces, and putting things down. I want you to think through also in your meetings that sometimes having an hour and a half meeting will suffice, but sometimes you need a chunk of time. And so a retreat works nicely. And so being able to spend 3 hours off campus, a half a day, working through planning, dreaming together, sometimes is real helpful and fruitful time. Now, I just really want you to know we're appreciative of your time, the efforts that you're going to be giving in 2016 to make our ministries work. We hope for positive outcomes. We hope for transformed lives. And we hope that you're a piece of that, because as you begin to see God work through you and your team, I think there's room for excitement and there's room to grow. And I look forward to being able to see and watch that happen in you, and I hope maybe you get to see that in me as well. We want to hear your success stories at our church council meetings. We want to hear about transformed lives. That makes me cry faster than anything when I hear somebody's life has changed. And we want you to be a success. So my prayer is for you to discover new levels of teamwork with the Holy Spirit and with your team and with our church in 2016. So thank you for serving.